Hello and welcome everybody to my thoughts of World War II. I am super excited. It's one of my favorite plot points in history, and hopefully it'll be one of yours. Of course, it's also one of the most devastating plot points in history, but there's just so much history that's just delved into the meat of it. So this is the website that I present to you all. This is kind of like the video that I made, kind of introducing myself. But kind of to paraphrase it though, my name is Mr. Sanchez. I graduated from Cal State Fullerton with a bachelor's in psychology, but I wanted to now switch things up and pursue my lifetime goal of being a history teacher. But don't worry, I will use psychology on you all, so has anybody ever heard of Pavlov? Just kidding. Moving on. We're talking about World War II right now. Things about me, I like reading manga. I like playing video games in my spare time. Yes, I'm one of those cool guys. No, you will not get my gamer tags. Good luck. In this class, in this course, the standards that I'm going to list for you guys, though, is to kind of show connections, casual and otherwise, between particular historical events and, of course, larger social, economic, and political trends and developments. I want everybody here to recognize the complexity, which is like, Rubik's Cube of historical cause and effects, including limitations on determining the cause and effect of that event. We will interpret past events and issues within the context in which an event unfolded, rather than solely in terms of present-day norms and values. Last but not least, we will understand the meaning, implication, and the impacts of historical events, and recognize that events could have taken any other directions. For example, I'm going to read ahead here a little bit though, but if anybody here knows about the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, that is a decision that could have changed the entire course of history, because everybody always says that it was the end of the war. That's how we ended the war with Japan. We were forced to bomb both cities. We bombed Hiroshima, Japan didn't surrender, we bombed Nagasaki right after. And even then, Nagasaki was not the initial target. So there was a lot of changes there that could definitely have changed the rest of history. Could have chosen not to drop them. Could have chosen just to drop the first one. But yet, we dropped both, and here we are today, with things like manga and anime being their comeback. Alright, so, this is the homepage of the website. Hopefully it's kind of more flowy for you guys compared to mine. Next we have, what is history? Everybody's here for a history class, but yet do we know what history is? Well, I like to say that history is more of a factual fantasy. The only difference between it being compared to an actual fantasy, though, is that there is the lack of dragons, kelpies, kappas, and mothmen to fight off. And I say it's a factual because most of the things that are written in here are actual facts. I say most because one of the good old sayings of history is that history is written by the winners, which is extremely true. Whoever wins will paint themselves in a better light compared to the losers, of course. I mean, that's why we make a movie about 300 men who fought off in the Peloponnesian War. They all lost, but the bravery they had lives on today in the Zack Snyder film. Anybody seen that? Good, you're all too young for it. Alright. Now, you're probably wondering, who are these people? If you know who they are, great. Because I made sure to pick some very famous historical leaders. Starting off, we have Julius Caesar, Nobunaga Oda, Henry VIII, my personal favorite king from England. I'm not gonna lie to you. Yes, it is because of the 6 wives. Yes, that's quite an interesting fact that this is part of the two. Anyways, Napoleon Bonaparte, he's actually not very short. Otto von Bismarck, very famous German military leader, and Rasputin. I don't think I need to say anything more about that guy. They were handpicked from different time periods in history because it starts from ancient times, ancient Rome, to the 20th century with Rasputin, with 20th century being more than just 22 years ago. And history is interchangeable, which is probably the best thing about it, though, is that you will find out more and more things about history the deeper you get into. Because it's not really a one-all, be-all type of subject. Excuse me. I did include 2 different I included a video about 12 incredible and historical facts that a lot of people just ended up finding. And some of them are pretty interesting, actually. And of course, a website of 50 amazing historical facts that you may not have known. A lot of this, I did kind of know. A couple of them, I did not. But you guys tell me what you think. Alright, and I got some useful links for everybody who wants to learn more about World War II. I probably could have used any other links though, but hey. For this moment in time though, we are learning about World War II and we're going to go deep into World War II. Here we have a quote from Winston Churchill. Attitude is a little thing that makes a big difference. If you come here with a negative attitude, you will have a negative experience. But change your negative attitude to a positive one, you will have a big difference of a positive and fun experience. And trust me, we will have a lot of fun here. Here is the first two links of general knowledge. There's a lot of primary sources, so not really any first-hand accounts, but just a lot of facts of others who have delved deep into the subject as well. So if there's anything you have a question on, anything you want to learn more about, Docs Teach and the University of Washington have some great sources. Here we have the infamous speech from Franklin D. Roosevelt. Fun fact, he served 4 consecutive presidential terms, and most of them were served during World War II. And actually, I think the last bit of World War II, though, he was wheelchair bound. So, there's that as well. Alright, I included some supporting documents about World War II. There's this website with a lot of photos taken from World War II. A website that has veteran stories from actual veterans who fought in World War II, which I believe the last one actually died a couple of years ago, unfortunately. There's a cool website that I found that shows the invasion of D-Day, so that we can hear it from the actual radio host as anybody else would have listened to it in their own homes during this time period. And of course, I want to do some more particular moments. Pearl Harbor being one of the biggest ones. I found 2 websites in regards to that. The Battle of Iwo Jima, which is this picture right here, the man raising the American flag. A lot of history in there as well. And then how to end a war with my earlier mentioned atomic bombs. Next, digital interactives. There's 4 things that I wanted to try out with you guys. We'll see how it goes though. One of them is actually not digital, but it's something I could not pass up on though. With the game of Historia. Is an incredibly fun game. Well, you guys will I'll explain more in detail about it later though. But basically, you all become your own leader. You guys will be in charge. Let's see how that goes. I found a website with these mini games that kind of tell you more about, like, not really about World War II, but just about history in general itself, and maybe some economics for what you guys may have in the next couple of years. There's also a simulation website that I found, which is right here. This one's actually a simulation website for World War II, so you actually can kind of do your own thinkings as well if you were to take part in. And a game that I actually wanted to try. I played the last, 4 games, called Civilization, Sid Meier's. Pretty fun game. I believe 3 and 4 are possibly one of my favorites, but 5 and 6 have their own charm. But probably a game that I would love to introduce to everybody because, speaking of Historia, you are in charge of your own history, and you can kind of force and change history as you see fit. Will you be the Incan civilization and be the first one to find democracy? Who can tell? Now, some aspects of this course will have you be using and implementing the internet. Normally I would say stay off of it, but this day and age, that's where we're at. So I added 3 things for your parents. Sorry, I skipped ahead a little bit. I do apologize. Alright, 3 things for your parents to look over. Try to help you guys control your internet usage. That'd be kind of fun. Assistive technology, things I wanted to go over real quick though. If you know anybody, or if you yourselves are going through, or if you are diagnosed with autism or dyslexia, there are ways that you can click on these links that will help you out in determining on how to help you out with assistance. Sorry. Now the fun part though, graphic organizers that I picked out. One that I bid in particular, Anticipation Reaction Guide. The guide that I went off of here, I actually took from this website right here, this link to the Holocaust. It's the history channel, but history website, I guess, now. There's a lot of engagement that will happen here as well. I picked this. It's either a pass or a fail. Either you did the reading or you did not. I'll go more in details about that later. And then here's the rubric for it as well. I don't know why. I've tried many times of making it bigger. It is what it is. But pass or fail. Either you did the work or you did not. Now you're asking, how am I going to assess you guys? Well, in two different ways. One, through a Kahoot, because Kahoots are fun. And I made one for this class, so it will be kind of fun to see who gets what. And maybe we can come up with some fun way. Hey, maybe we do an Axis versus Allies mode. We'll see. And last, an idea that I kind of thought that would be really fun, and the repetition of it, though, will greatly help everybody here, though, is a historical role play. You guys will be immersing yourselves within particular moments that happened during World War II. I believe it's going to be awesome. I can hear the groans already. Alright, I picked a choice board. Bingo! Now, you're going to look through this and realize, hey, this is going to be like a lot. Well, it is. Don't worry, though. I got 2 months. 2 months to work on this. I figured that'd be a good amount of time. Some things that you can do in the background while we're also going over some other things more in touch with this. There's a lot of history here. That's why I say 2 months, because there's just so much to go over. And we can go more into detail, and hey, it is the last big war that we have all experienced. Hopefully it is the last. And last but not least, though, here we have the lecture itself. But this lecture in particular is going over a very particular group. Concentration and internment camps. The comparison and contrast. There's actually a word war on internment camps. Is it right to call them that? Who here knows what internment camps are? So, concentration camps were built before the war, and they were added and made worse during the war. Concentration camps, though, were created to house the asocials, the undesirables, and the European Jewish people, where they were forced to do tons of labor or be killed. And that was held in Europe. Internment camps was the American version, and that was for the Japanese Americans, and it was something that was pushed for after Pearl Harbor had occurred. But here's the lecture going over the differences and the similarities between the two, and there's actually a lot more differences. But here we have our first worksheet comparing and contrasting the concentration and internment camps, and then some fill in the blanks as well, which I do believe I have the links inside the lecture for the fill in the blanks for here. And that is the website that I present to you guys. Feel free to take a look at it and let me know what you think. Please like and subscribe. No, I'm kidding. I know everybody's heard a lot of that lately. But thank you, everybody, and let me know what you think.